It's 10 o'clock. You know what time it is. It's time for the C. Nathaniel Brown Show. Entertaining, educating, and empowering.
You're hanging out with the one and only.
The one and only.
C. Nathaniel Brown.
A.K.A. Chuck B.
On the C. Nathaniel Brown Show.
You already know what it is.
Welcome back, everybody, to the C. Nathaniel Brown Show. I am so glad to have my next guest, Miss Latezes Bridges, in the house, in the building, as they say. She is a phenomenal author. She is a speaker. She is a teacher. She's a mentor. She's a publisher. She is busy. To put it quite frankly, she's a busy woman. Thank you so much for joining us, Latezes. I appreciate it. I've been looking forward to talking to you about the book and about so many of the other projects that you have going on. How are things going for you?
Oh, my goodness. First of all, thanks so much for having me on the show. I'm excited about this conversation. You guys are amazing. I've been listening in, and you guys were turning it up in the last segment. I don't know. And you're going to the single side now. I don't know if I can follow up.
Oh, I think you can follow up. I know that, you do a lot, as I mentioned before, there are a lot of things that you do, but I love how you have put all of those things together to find your passion and really stay in your passion to really help people. And so if you can, just talk a little bit about some of the workshops that you have and how it ties into what you do as a writer and as a mentor.
Sure. Well, once again, thank you. I'm Latezes Bridges, and the core, I believe, of who I am is a helper. I think we all are equipped with natural gifts and talents, and like you said, when you really begin to tap into those things, you can get in your lane and you start to see things happening. But I believe that starts with finding where you can help somewhere else or solve a problem, and I love answering questions about life. I'm a sociologist, a trained sociologist with a background in psychology, so I really enjoy solutionizing relational issues, and that has been my niche from a business consultant standpoint. So all of the products and services that we create are community-driven to solve a problem, whether it is reducing the number of young people who are involved in gang violence or spreading book products, media products, or assisting people who have business ideas to bring those to fruition through consulting and step-by-step business development and program development services. So everything that I do from a for-profit and nonprofit perspective is based on tapping into those gifts, teaching people to tie into their passions and move forward in faith to bring them to fruition.
Okay. That's a great transition into our first topic. As you said, we talked about a lot of issues already. We talked about HIV and the statistics there. We talked about the divorce rate and the sex challenge and all of those things. Now, if we're looking at it from a dating standpoint, what is the landscape for dating right now? I know we talked before about the 40-to-1 female-to-male ratio that they say exists right now in Atlanta.
Yeah.
How do you process that information, and what do you do with it when it comes to dating?
Okay. For me personally, I process it from a perspective maybe different than some other people. I have some friends who have a very pessimistic view of, the outlook on dating. As a young professional in this area, it's a lot of people here, but that ratio, it sounds horrible for a young lady who may be single in their late 20s, mid-30s, and beyond, who is looking to attract their ideal mate. However, my perspective is this. Ratios and statistics really don't mean anything to me because I feel whatever's for you is for you, and no matter where you are, you will attract what belongs to you if you have what you're giving off. So you are what you attract, and it doesn't matter if you are in Atlanta, you are in Texas, and if it's for you, it's for you. It just matters what you believe and where your faith lies and how your perspective on the outlook is. That's me. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, I'm not pessimistic. I believe that, it's good.
Okay. Now, Valentine's Day is coming up. It's, can be viewed as a controversial time. You hear people say they break up around this time because they don't want to deal with the Valentine's Day. Then there's pressure to have the right gift or else you're a failure, or setting up the right date. What is the Valentine's Day apprehension, if you will, for singles right now? Is it still a good holiday?
It can be a bit of hysteria, once again, for those who might not be in committed relationships. But even still, those who may be in committed relationships, there still is a lot of apprehension about all those gifts. But this is my philosophy on that. I feel like we all should spread love and show love to those we love every single day. So Valentine's Day doesn't, dictate whether I'm going to love my mate better or, whether I'm going to show them that I appreciate them. This should be a year-round effort. And if they're doing that, I wouldn't trip about Valentine's Day. We can eat some popcorn and watch a movie, as long as we're cool, and we're tight. So we shouldn't really get caught up in the holidays. They're cute and all, but show love every day. Show your mate that you care about them every single day.
Right. I agree with that. Well, hang tight. When we come back, I want to talk about your book, Single Wives, and how you came to write that and some of the points in it. But we're going to take this quick break, and then I promise we'll come back and we'll talk about that. So hang tight for me.
Hey, I'm Devon Franklin.
I'm Megan Good Franklin.
And you're hanging with your boy,
Chuck B.
Welcome back, everybody, to the C. Nathaniel Brown Show. I just had to play a little bit of my man Ruben Studdard's song, Heaven. I stumbled across that song about a year ago. I don't even know how old it is, but I love that song, so I wanted to just play a little bit of it tonight. So welcome back, Latez. As I mentioned before the break, I wanted to talk a little bit about your book, Single Wives. If you can just tell us a little bit about it and what can people expect when they read it?
Sure. Well, the book, Single Wives, it is basically about attracting your ideal mate by becoming an ideal mate through the art of preparation. And when you hear that title, Single Wives, I get a lot of feedback. Are you talking about wives that are really married and, they're dating other people? I'm like, no. It's actually based on Proverbs 18 and 22, which says, he who finds a wife finds a good thing and obtains the favor of the Lord. So basically the concept is that a wife doesn't become a wife just because she puts on a ring and you walk down the aisle. That doesn't make you a wife. You become a wife through the art of preparation, mind, body, and soul, because it is an office. And I heard Mr. Hassani talking a little bit about skill sets and, responsibilities and knowledge bases. It's a knowledge base because you're preparing for an office, an institution, a role that you will fulfill, a role assignment, a life assignment. And it's one of the biggest decisions that you can ever make, the person who you will marry and, stay with the rest of your life. So you have to be prepared for that. So this book talks about those stages of what marriage is really about based on the author of marriage, God's original design. What should we be when we're in our single state? What should we be working on? What should we understand about the institution so we'll be prepared and have appropriate expectations? And that having wrong expectation often leads us to divorce. And, I've experienced some of those things. So it comes from a personal level of experience, but also a professional level of experience in, creating also behavioral health programs and relation programs for schools and colleges and people who were overcoming dysfunctional family situations.
Mm-hmm. What are some of the biggest mistakes you believe people make, whether they've read the book or you talk to them about some of the aspects of the book that you feel like could be the reason they are not happy or they're content or they're not finding or in the right relationship? Because I know you hit on several topics in the book that can kind of address some of those things. But just in conversation with people, what do you see as some of the common mistakes?
Well, one of the main mistakes or misunderstandings that I think a lot of people have in general is that the expectations that they have of marriage, whether it's that, you find a person to make you whole or make you happy, and you have this wedding and you live happily ever after. And like Hassani alluded to, there's a lot that comes after the wedding date that you must have the correct understanding about. And also, people get into relationships, this is point two, without really knowing who they are as a person, and you expect another person to give you something that you don't even know what it is. So the whole preparation in singleness is, one, understanding who you are as a person, what your needs are, what your desires are, what you bring to a relationship, how you communicate with others, how you need to be communicated with, how you respond to conflict, all these types of things. You need to understand yourself before you can really effectively have a good relationship with anybody else, and it's called self-discovery and becoming whole. Point three, we get into relationships back to back, and we've been hurt, abused, and we don't understand what love is really, really about, and we take baggage. You've heard this over and over again, into one relationship, into the next relationship, without stopping to address what has happened, what cycles have happened in your life that are repetitive. If you have experienced a relationship that failed and then you jump into another relationship the next week, it's hard to have a successful relationship with the second person when you really don't understand what went wrong, how you haven't evaluated what happened in the first situation, and have I healed from that? Am I prepared to give myself emotionally to someone else? Because, of course, naturally you're going to put walls up, barriers up when you've been hurt, and that's what most people do, but they never address their hurt. So you carry it and hurt somebody else.
Right. So what type of steps can people do to heal in that process?
You got to take time for yourself. You have to really be real with what's going on in your life. And, this whole process of life is about self-discovery and becoming the best you can be so you can have the best life you can have. And it's all about relationships, once you can have a good relationship with yourself and learn to love who you are in all aspects of you and become healed from places where you've been hurt or traumatized, and it starts way back sometime in our childhood. We haven't realized things that have affected us psychologically that have caused us not to trust people in general, but we never know that. So if you take some time to figure yourself out, it'll help you understand better how to deal with other people and then how to allow love in, real love, not fake love that we sometimes think is infatuation or
or
lust. Exactly.
Okay. Now, with the book, I understand that you are reworking it. Can you tell us a little bit about that process and when you're going to relaunch it?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. We published this book, Single Wives, in 2013, March 2013, and upon doing some of the great workshops and seminars and women's conferences and small groups all over in churches and community centers and book clubs, we just saw the need of women and people in general. They were hungry for more information about how to effectively date. What are you looking for in an ideal mate? How do you know what that looks like? And overall, what we found is we as a whole don't know how to date effectively. We don't understand what the concept of dating, if you're looking for a committed, long-lasting, fulfilling relationship, looks like. So we spent a lot of time doing seminars about that. What does an ideal mate look like? What does suitable help look like? What does a life partner look like if you're looking for that kind of thing? What is the most important thing you need to do as a single? And it starts in making quality decisions about your own life, making, I call them in the book, destiny-driven decisions, understanding your own purpose, your own power, your own potential. And once you align yourself with that, you begin to align with other people who are on that same framework, and you'll attract people like that are on that wavelength into your life. Understanding your dating pattern. Go back. If you keep running into bubbas who are doing you wrong, it's a cycle of situations that you might want to stop and say, hey, maybe it's not Bubba, maybe it's me, maybe, I got some things going on that I need to address. And that's being a woman and saying, hey, I need to stop. Maybe I don't need to date right now. I need to get my life together. And then you'll be prepared for the kind of guy that can treat you the way you deserve to be treated, and that's royalty like a queen because you are.
Right. That's awesome. That's one of the things that I want to do from a male perspective, both from a single male perspective and as a married man, the types of things that we should be doing to build up ourselves first, and then how we treat people, how we interact with women, how we approach them, how we carry ourselves. But all of that goes back to, like what you said, it starts from, way back when we were kids and how we were raised and what we saw, all of those things that as men we don't talk about. We don't deal with them. So it only comes out when turmoil shows up in relationships. And so we need to definitely do, something to address that. So don't be surprised if you hear more about one of my projects dealing with that real soon. We just got a couple minutes left. Absolutely. And I know we're going to be collaborating on some things, and we'll definitely give people more information about that coming up real soon too. But before we have to jump off, I want to give you an opportunity to share a website and contact information so people can follow up with you.
Sure. Everybody can go to the Single Wives Book website and see interviews, media videos, and also look at all of the seminar and workshop options that are there for them to book for their book clubs, their church groups, their single ministries, or just their small groups. And that's www.singlewivesbook.com. If they want to collaborate or connect with me to host a seminar directly, they can contact me at singlewivesbook@gmail.com. And if they're on Instagram, check me out at singlewives.